Hey, it's your girl Lay, and welcome back to my channel. Just I woke up this morning. I did all of my little things. I did my gratitude. I got up. I made me some tea. I wrote in my journal, and like I have these days sometimes where like my mind is racing, like it is running, it is going crazy, and I'm like, yo, like, and it'll be out of nowhere. Like, sometimes I wake up and my mind is immediately like thoughts are just rushing to me. And then other days, like today, I was perfectly fine. And then out of nowhere, all the thoughts just start rushing to me. And, and they're the same reoccurring thoughts, right? They just keep the same thoughts keep coming, same thoughts keep coming. And I'm like, why do these same thoughts keep coming to mind? And I watched a video on YouTube not too long ago, and it was saying like when things keep replaying in your mind, it's because there's a lesson that you're supposed to, get from that. So like a lot of times, like what I've learned on this healing journey is that you have to break things down. Like you have, like I know, but seriously, like you have to break things down. You got to carry the one. You have to really learn from the things that are transpiring in your life. Like it's imperative that you learn from the things that's happening around you. If not, you just keep repeating the same cycles and the same cycles and the same cycles. So the thoughts that I keep having is are about vulnerability, right? And I was just thinking, because I was like, wait, do I want to go this way or do I want to go that way? And I'm like, okay, let's talk about vulnerability, because I have two different examples on that. So the thoughts are revolved around vulnerability. And the last few years I've realized that like a lot of people don't know how I feel about nothing. Like I'm one of those people that never let them see you sweat. Never let them know, you know what I mean? Don't let your right hand know what your left hand doing. Like I very much so live by that. So like I move very, like I give you a lot of information, but it's just enough to keep you in a loop. Like you don't know exactly what's going on, right? So I have realized how, as vulnerable as I'm not, I expect for people to, like, I expect this from people. I expect them to be vulnerable with me. And I noticed, like, what I started to notice was like the confusion it causes when you don't know what's going on with somebody, right? So the last 2 years, I was like, okay, let me start to open up and be more vulnerable, because like my biggest thing is just, I'm just, I don't like people playing with me. Like, don't play with me. Like, tell people all the time, I didn't even play outside when I was a kid. So, like, I really don't play. I do not play games. I do not, like, I'm probably like the most serious person people know. Like, girl, like, I'm serious 95% of the time. Like, but I'm still like, I'll be goofy too though. Like I'm goofy. Like I love comedy. Like I don't know. I can't even explain it at this point. But one of the things I realized is that, dang, like you're not vulnerable. Like people don't know how you feel about things. People don't know like how to move around you for real. Like what you don't like, what you're cool with, what you're not cool with. Because for the most part, like I don't say nothing, and it's because I try to let people be who they are so I could just move around them. Like I try. One thing I learned last year is that like I'm not controlling, but I like my environment to be controlled, right? Like I like to be able to move all the parts and move. And last year is like, girl, that's impossible. Like you can't do that. You know what I mean? Like you keep hurting yourself because you're trying to keep everything calm, cool, and collective all the time, and that's not realistic. You know what I mean? Like, even when my thoughts, like I said this morning, I woke up and I was totally okay. And then out of nowhere, like, my mind was just like, oh, what if you did this? What if you did this? How did this happen? I was just like, what is going on right now? Like, I'm good. Like, I'm okay. I got up and did all my stuff to, like, get my day started. And now, like, there's chaos in my mind. Like, what? Like, why? Where is that coming from? And I think a part of it came from acceptance, because I was thinking about, like, I decided within the last 2 years that I was going to open up and be more vulnerable. And with that vulnerability, I got the same results, right? And not only did I get the same results, I also had to face a lot of fears that I've had, and the reason why I wasn't vulnerable. But what I learned from that, what I just had to break down in the living room when I was writing my journal entry, was that when you face your fears, there's nothing to be scared of anymore. Listen to that. When you face your fears, there's nothing to be scared of anymore. So essentially, when you face your fears, you become more powerful. When you face your fears, it's like, oh, that wasn't so bad. Like, I can do this. I don't have to run away. I don't have to hide myself and shrink myself away from everybody and not let nobody know what I'm thinking and what I'm feeling. Like, I can do it, right? So in the midst of all my thoughts, it was like, man, like, are you sure being vulnerable was worth it? Are you sure that's something that you want to keep doing? Are you sure that, like, you don't want to just cut that part and go back to how you was? And, like, I'm telling you this, all these thoughts was rushing me, and I'm like, what are you, like, why are you second guessing right now? Like, what's wrong? Like, and then sometimes I think our minds just play tricks on us to test our growth, right? To test what have you learned and what will you do different, to test the tools that you're receiving as you're on this journey, right? So I'm like, okay, if that's where you want to go right now, let's go. Okay, so what are the pros and cons to you being vulnerable? Let's just talk about it. You was vulnerable, and what the cons was that the same thing happened. And the same thing that has happened, and this is the last two situations that I can honestly say I was vulnerable in, and I still had to walk away from these two situations, these two individuals, right? So I'm like, okay, what are the cons? The cons is that you still lost somebody, right? I thought in my mind that if I be vulnerable and I open up more, that I could stop losing people. I could stop having to walk away from relationships and friendships and people that I love dearly. And I thought that would solve that problem, and it didn't. I still had to walk away. I still had to lose someone that I cared about. I still, you know what I mean? Like, it'll just never be the same. We won't have the closeness. I won't know how that person's doing, or you know what I mean? Like, if they're okay, or you know what I mean? Like, and those kind of things just bother me, because I really, like, when I let you in my world, like, I'm a part of you and you're a part of me. You know what I mean? Like, and I take that very seriously. Like, I really, like, anytime anybody calls my phone, my first question is, are you good? Like, I'm trying to figure out how I can be of service to you. I'm trying to figure out, like, if you need me for anything, if whatever, like, if there's anything I could do. Like, that's just immediately where my mind goes. So the con to being vulnerable, when I had to break it down, was, okay, you still lost this person. You still walked away. You still, you know what I mean? Like, it was the same. It was the same thing, right? Very true. Let me see. What will be another con? Another con is that I got hurt. My feelings hurt. Heartbroken. I'm experiencing, I'm grieving, that situation. Um, Let me see. What would I say another con is? Well, I mean, I could say I wasted my time, I guess. Maybe my time and resources. I think I could say that, but I really don't look at life like that. But I mean, that's something you could say, right? Like that's just a con. I just want to be realistic with the cons. Now, the pros though, when I thought about it a few minutes ago, I'm like, but the pros are, and this is how you can reshape your mind on what you think about being vulnerable, right? And this is how you could turn vulnerability into your power. The pros are that I didn't hold on as long as I usually would. Before, it was 10, 15, 20-year friendships and relationships that I walked away from. And it was harder and more detrimental in me holding on all those years because I didn't want to be vulnerable. So I just kept letting them hurt my feelings, break my heart, let me down, disappoint me, and I never said nothing. It shrunk me more and more and more and more and more. And it got to the point where it was like, I have to walk away because the damage goes so far back that it can't be repaired. Like I have a list of 100 infractions that you've done against me, and it's just like, and a lot of the things I don't remember exactly what happened. You don't remember, you know what I mean? Like we can't really go back, but it still hurt. Like I still harbor that pain. I still feel that pain. You know what I mean? So like, one of the pros was that it didn't take 10, 15, 20 years. It didn't take it. I was vulnerable in what I needed, where I stood, where I was at, how I felt. And when somebody cares about you, they respect that. They respect it. They make adjustments. They love you enough to accommodate and what's the word I'm looking for? Acknowledge what you're saying. You know what I mean? Like your feelings and what it is that you're expressing to them. They take that time to do that. And when they don't, that's how you know. Like that's one of the signs. I mean, that's not automatic because a lot of people, I also do believe that a lot of people are operating in learned behavior. Like they just doing what they know. They just treating you how they've been treated. They're just, giving you what's been given to them. And I know that because that's why I operate the way I do. Because that's what people have done for me, essentially. Like people have helped me all I know is people showing up. All I know is people being there when I need them. All I know is, you know what I mean? Like kind, genuine people. So that's how I show up in the world. So not all the time when you express a vulnerability or a need and someone doesn't meet it, it doesn't necessarily mean that they don't care, but you have to be aware of what's going on in real time, and you have to be able to express yourself effectively and have grace. But nonetheless, your antenna should come up when you express something to somebody and they don't acknowledge it, or you tell somebody something that you need and they don't make the adjustments. Like that is a telltale sign. You know what I mean? That may be, and depending on what, because there's levels to everything, right? So depending on how up they are, you know, how high of on a pedestal you got them, or how high they are on that bar of like just what you're pouring into them and what you're giving to them, depending on how high they are, I think them not reacting to your vulnerabilities and what you're saying, I think it's safe for you to bring that down some so you don't hurt yourself. So when I thought about that, I said, that's what you learned. You learned that vulnerability signals where to place people in your life and how much you can pour or give to the people that's in your life. Because one of my things is like, I don't want to keep losing people. It hurts. I don't like it. I really enjoy community, and you know what I mean? Like, I enjoy showing up for people. I enjoy people that I just hear from and they just calling to check on me, or just calling to check on, you know what I mean? Like, I enjoy, because I don't have kids, but I enjoy seeing the accomplishments of the people that I love, children. I love seeing their children, you know what I mean? Like, watching them grow, watching them become, you know, like teenagers, and, you know, drive, like they're driving for the first time. You know what I mean? Like, I really enjoy milestones. I really enjoy just being there through people's changes and people, you know what I mean? Like, and people's accomplishments. Like, I really, really enjoy that. So when I was thinking about what was the pros, and what did I learn from opening myself up this second time, and what I learned was that I can use that vulnerability was my power this time, because it showed me that that person wasn't where they told me they were, nor was that person worthy or ready of the position that I placed them in. And although I left and had the same result that I didn't want to have, which was losing yet another person, now I know, like, okay, Malaysia, because this had never happened before. This was my first time in this situation, and I was just like, oh my God, it didn't work. I panicked, and I got out of there fast as I could. I resorted back to what I knew, right? But now I know, Malaysia, when that happens, you don't run like hell, you know, run away. You detach. You you pull back, not run away. Pulling back and run away is different. You know what I mean? So another pro, so the first pro was the fact that I noticed, like, ooh, this person ain't ready for what I'm ready for. This person ain't ready for what they said they was ready for. That's one. Two, it didn't take me a long time. Like, I wasn't delusional or lying to myself about who this person was. Like, when you're vulnerable, when you tell somebody what you need and they don't give it to you, you're forced to see them for who they are. It's right there in your face. Like, dang, I said that I didn't like when you did this, and you keep doing it. Like, that's an issue. That's should be a siren. Like, that's a big problem. So I thought that was good. Like, okay, I could see this person for who they are. Let me stop and think now. Let me stop and think about what it is that I need to do. Now, in this particular situation that I'm like kind of referring to, I didn't know what to do. I didn't stop and think about nothing. Like, stuff was just going so fast that I just halted it. Like I said, I panicked and I halted it. But now I know going forward that what I also learned was like, slow down. Like, cause I'm the type of person, I'm like this. Like, I don't do nothing slow. I don't halfway do nothing. I don't try to do nothing. I make things happen or I don't. It's either this or that, left or right, up or down. Like, there's no, maybe, possible. No. You ask me something, I'm going to say yeah, or I'm going to say mm-mm. I'm not going to say maybe, I'll let you know, I'll call you back, ask me tomorrow. No, I'm going to say yes or no. But I learned that those fillers or that uncertainty or whatever, it just gives you time to think. It gives you time to really like weigh out what it is that's happening for real. So using vulnerability as your power just gives you a better insight, and it forces you to accept what's happening before you. Like, you can't like there's no room for you to like, so when you know, so when you're not vulnerable, right, you're guessing like, dang, do this person care? Like why would they do that? Like how do they not know that that's bothering me? Like, what if, like, are they doing this on purpose? Are they this? Are they that? But when you're vulnerable and you specifically tell somebody like, hey, I don't like this, and then they do it, there is no, you can't second guess that. There is no you in your mind like, oh, this person care. Oh, this person just made a mistake. Oh, they don't care, so let me react on that. Or, oh, they don't love me, so let me react like this. It's like, no, you specifically said what it was that you didn't like or that you didn't want to occur, and they did it. Now, you have to make a move. You have to make a decision on how you're going to maneuver this thing now, moving forward. You have concrete, solid proof of what just happened, of what's going on, right? Now, what I would do differently, though, is just maybe have a conversation with that example. And another thing, too, is you have to talk, like, when you're being vulnerable and you're like, especially when you're new to it, like, it comes with a lot of conversation, right? And a lot of people just, they don't like to have conversations for whatever reason. I don't know why, because conversations offer clarity and understanding. But I think people don't like to have conversations because sometimes you can't trust people to be truthful. Like, people be looking you dead in your face and lying, and you're just like, and when you do find out, you're like, bruh, you looked me dead in my eye and said that. Like, oh my god, like, that is crazy. Like, I really thought we was having a moment. I thought we was getting somewhere, and you was just lying straight through your teeth. Like, who does that? And a lot of people do it. So it's scary to have conversations sometimes. Like, some people will rather just come up in their mind what it might be and just move off that. But it's like, when you do that, that's dangerous because you are coming to your own conclusions. And for the most part, your mind automatically is trying to protect your heart. So it's going to think the worst. So now you're reacting and you're moving in the worst way. Whereas if you just be vulnerable and tell a person what it is that you want and don't want, and let them, make their next move, then I think you're able to better rationalize what to do next, instead of you thinking the worst thing and then moving off of that thought. That's not even true, not even confirmed, not even nothing. You just, it must be this. Bet I'm about to move like that now. And it's like, people are, and I've been guilty of it too. Like, we're ruining a lot of relationships and we're ruining our own nervous system when we do that. Seriously. Like, you're damaging your own nervous system. You're putting anxiety and stress and anxious, same thing. So anxiety, stress, darkness on yourself for no reason. So to wrap this up, because it's getting kind of long, and my alarm about to literally go off in like 3 minutes and cut my video off, and I don't want that. So to wrap this up, vulnerability is your power because it gives you a realistic answer that you can use to rationalize a realistic result for the situation at hand. If that makes sense. I hope it does, because being vulnerable is not a weakness. It's really a strength. You have to restructure your